Hello, good morning. My name is Shashank, and I welcome you to the series where I'm covering 100 chapters from the book called The Art of Thinking Clearly, where I took a challenge to complete each chapter in each video every day. So it's a 100-day challenge where basically you can think. Almost we can make 100 videos and I can become comfortable in front of the camera, and my fluency can also improve, and also working, and I'm also working on my discipline. So today we are on 14th chapter, and it's called as the hindsight bias. Hindsight bias is nothing but we predict the past situation as we know that gonna happen. But in our lives, I'll explain you it in clear way. In our lives, there will be some situations in the past. If we see it, before that situation occurred, we thought something about that particular situation. So suppose, you know, RCB winning the IPL trophy. I never thought that RCB gonna win, but it won. And before this happened, if we go back in 2016, and not 2016 actually, before that, the RCB fans used to have one moot called Isala Cup Namde. Yeah, they deserve it actually. They used to have better team at that time, but they used to think in that every year they used to come with that quote that this time we are winning, this time we are winning, but that never happened. But there are some seasons in 2016 it has come to the finals. RCB has came to the finals and lost with SRH. That time before the finals occurred, many people thought not just leave before finals. In the second innings, till the 10 overs, people thought that RCB has won, has lifted its first cup. Most people declared in that way. But unfortunately, they have lost that match. So this is, I took the cricket example because everyone can relate it. But in our lives as well, we used to think about some situations in a way very differently. But as that situation happened, now we realize that what I thought was something very, you know, very opposite. The actual reality is something very opposite than from what I thought. So this is called hindsight bias. Basically, our brain tries to uh, predict the story, the predict the outcome because that is certainty. Our brain needs certainty, but the reality is we don't get certainty in the life. The reality is uncertainty. We never know what can happen. What can happen? Nothing. Everything can happen. So the point is that if we see in realistic terms, for every situation, before a situation, a outcome occurs, there are multiple possibilities. But our as there are multiple possibilities, our brain can't predict all the possibilities, right? It's impossible. You cannot predict all the aspects, all the dimensions in one situation. Yeah, because our information is limited, our time is limited, our energy is limited. We can't do that. So there's a limitation for an instrument. So what our brain does is it tries to predict. It it predicts one of the outcome that it knows and thinks that it's true. Predicting that is also not bad actually. You need to predict something, right? Because without any intention, how can you even have an hope to do something? But thinking that it as true is false. That's what it is. Because that thing, if you think that it is true, whatever you thought is true, and you get some kind of overconfidence built up in yourself that whatever I think is true, whatever I do is true. I mean, you get into that trap and you stop learning. I experience it in my personal life. Basically, in 3 years, 4 years ago, I guess, I was doing some trading, binary trading. I've also explained it in the previous videos, but I'll summarize it quick because that's good example here comes meets up. There used to be some candles. I used to predict it. So I've come up with my own strategy, so-called strategy with my own that whatever I came up with my own theory, and that theory was working at that time. It worked for 1 week, and I made good amount of money at that time. Good amount in the sense I made around. I started with 1,000. I made 3,000, 3 to 4,000. I pulled up with my theory. I pulled up the account till 5,000, 4,000, 4 or 5,000. I didn't really remember that, but I pulled up the account. So there what happened was I became overconfident that yeah, the video got broken. So even though I'll sum it up. So I thought I predicted the market. That's what happens. So that brings you the overconfidence into your head. So that should be not that's very risky for our lives. So now we just believe our intuitions. So I believe that should never go with that intuition. And I believe faith must be logical, in the realm of logic, so you can make better decision. So yeah, so if we sum it up the story, basically hindsight bias is nothing but we try to predict the we try to think that in the past whatever the situation happened, we we think that we already know whatever happened, in the before that situation occurred. We know that we believe that we know that situation need must to be occurred because you think that it will have happened. So that's basically the story that you're saying to yourself, because but the reality is something different. There are multiple outcomes, multiple possibilities, and every each possibility has different will have you know different outcomes. So the point is that have a quick test. We can do it for ourselves. Even the author recommended it. You can maintain a diary where whatever the decision that you want to take, or whatever the thing that you believe currently that going to happen, you are predicting the thing about the future. You just write it and just close it and just keep it. And after that situation happens, after 2 3 years after, or maybe that event occurred, you can go back to that book and see what were your predictions. And there is a most probable chance that you will be right. I mean, sorry, you will be wrong. Sorry, you will be wrong, because that's what it is. We can't predict the future. No one can predict it. Even in 2008, there were financial crisis happened all over the world. In 2007, most economists believe that they're not everything is fine. Everything is fine, and financial situation all over the world is cool, and everything is in a developing situation. But in 2008, those were the same people who blamed the government, who blamed the industries, who blamed the agencies. So if they all have known everything, then why didn't they predict it in 2007? Why didn't they predict it that such kind of disaster? The reason is that no one can know it. No one can know the future. No one can predict the future. That's the reality. So there are multiple outcomes for that. So if we sum it up, this entire session is that first thing is no one can know the future. No one can predict it. There are multiple possibilities that can occur. You just predict one or some the most probable, the as many possibilities as possible, and just also leave some you know space for error. There is always leave a room for error, because we don't know. No matter how much we think, no matter how much we plan, there are always uncertainty at our back playing the game. So it is much more stronger than us. You need to believe it. That's because that's the true. So that's what it is that's it for the day. If you can follow this steps, we can improve the decision making. We have completed the 14 chapters of this book, bro. So let's see tomorrow. Bye. Good morning. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. Bye, bye, bye.